Hello, everyone. Millennial Economics here. Hope you're doing well. It is a rainy day here in the Midwest. I'm enjoying a little bit of a break from the heat. Wanted to talk a little about automation and how automation can supercharge your financial progress toward your goals. So, I want to preface too, before I get into it, I am not a huge fan of automation for everything. I As you get older and as you accumulate more bills, especially with utilities and whatever, you can set up automatic payments straight out of your account for your mortgage or for your water bill or your electric bill or whatever. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like getting the bills in the mail and paying them every month on my own. It gives me a little bit more control on when money's going out of my account, and I like that. And I think that there's value in having a hands-on approach to managing your money. It gives you a better picture of what's happening, a more tangible experience, I guess you could say, to help you monitor what's going on. So when I say automation can really supercharge your finances and getting you to your goals, just keep that in mind. I think there is value to a manual process with some things, but when it comes to saving and investing, I think that automation can be incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. So I'll give you a for instance and tell you a little bit of a story. So I didn't know, 5 years, 6 years ago. Um, I say that. I shouldn't say that. I didn't know a lot about investing into individual brokerage accounts 6, 7 years ago. I had a high level understanding of what a 401k was, but I didn't have a very thorough understanding of what it was and how it operated, what made up, when I threw money into my 401k account, what am I investing in? I didn't really know, right? So these are things that I've learned over the past several years. To go back even further, my story, I didn't have a lot of financial literacy coming out of high school. Even going into my first job, I've cashed out 2 401k accounts because, again, I didn't know what the penalty meant or what these investments were. I had no clue. And I accumulated a lot of debt early on in life, car payments, credit card debt, personal loans, you name it, I had it. And through that pain of having to pay everything and living paycheck to paycheck and not making any progress, I learned financial literacy and what all of these things really meant, right? So I give you a real, I hope that you can trust what I'm saying because of the experiences that I've had. I was not born into privilege. I did not grow up in privilege. I did not get money from a trust fund or an inheritance or anything like that. I've worked for what I've had, and I've had to learn sometimes the hard ways. Even recently, you continually learn the hard way on what to do and what not to do. So the story about me automating my finances and me finding out that it can be beneficial. So I knew, even while I was in debt, I knew that I wanted to start accumulating money better and faster. I knew that I wanted to invest, but I didn't necessarily know what that meant. I had watched things on YouTube. I had read books about investing, but again, I didn't really know what it meant. And I stumbled upon Acorns about 5, 6 years ago, and I started initially using their roundup feature, so you can attach a card, and every time you run a transaction, it'll round up that transaction amount to the nearest dollar and invest the spare change. I started that way. I didn't love that, just the feature inside of Acorns. It's a good idea, but I didn't think they executed it well. So I stopped doing that, and what I did was I just set it up for recurring investments every week. And I knew to make it sustainable for me, it had to be an amount of money that I wouldn't really notice was gone out of my bank account, right? It couldn't be like, especially at that time, it couldn't be $100 a week. I didn't have that money. That would hamper me from paying off all the other debts that I had and all the other bills that I had. So I started off just investing $5 every Friday. That's it. And it was an amount that I didn't really notice was gone. It was the same amount that I would go buy a cup of coffee with. And I ran that for almost a year. And I had kind of forgotten that I had this Acorns account, and I remember opening it up and I realized I had a significant amount of money in there. At this time, my wife and I, we didn't have much in savings, like that. We were, again, paycheck to paycheck. But I realized, like, oh man, like there's a couple $100 in here, and oh man, it's appreciated over time. Oh man, like I'm getting dividends from some of these investments, and it spurred me to learn what dividends were and to learn how compound interest worked and to learn what dollar cost averaging was. But if I would have relied solely on myself manually investing that $5 every Friday, I wouldn't have done it. I would have found something else to do with that money, or I would have forgotten to do it one week, and it wouldn't have become a consistent habit. So I think that automating your investing and savings can be huge because it makes you rely, it doesn't make you rely on your memory. And it will force you to see the benefits of investing. It'll force you to see those dividends that are coming in. It'll force you to see the appreciation your investments are earning because you're continually putting money into it. And one of the biggest things to look at on why, one of the biggest use cases to look at on how powerful automating your investing can be is to look at 401ks. So 401ks, even for baby boomers all the way down to millennials, often is the biggest investment that those individuals have. Next to a personal home that you might buy, it's typically the biggest investment that a person will have in their life. So we have to ask why. Well, there's a few reasons why. Number one, it's because, yes, employers typically match a 401k, right? So you're automatically doubling a certain amount of your money that you're throwing in there, or you're getting some sort of contribution from an employer. So that certainly is probably the biggest reason why it's the largest investment for many. But I believe another reason why, and I'd put this at number 2, is because it's automated. So when you say, hey, I'm going to invest 6%, 10%, 15% of my paycheck into my 401k, and it's going to come out pre-tax, and it's coming out no matter what. So your mindset automatically changes. You automatically adjust your lifestyle to what is after the investment that you're making into your 401k, right? So I've had my 401k contribution at 9% for some time now, and I put my lifestyle, or I create my lifestyle around what comes after my contributions to my 401k. And this kind of goes back to the principle of pay yourself first, right? Well, you're forcing yourself through automation, something that's hard to change, right? You can change the contribution to your 401k, but it's a little hard. Maybe you have to log in somewhere and it takes a couple weeks to update that, or maybe you have to reach out to your HR department to update your contributions. It's difficult, so most people just ride it out. So I'm forcing myself to live on the money that I have after those contributions, and that's what the beauty of automation is. It also forces me to invest consistently for dollar cost averaging. So I'm not trying to time the market with my 401k. I throw it in there consistently every time I get paid. And we have seen through research, many different studies, that simply by putting your money into the market consistently, you are going to see better gains than 99.9%. And this isn't statistic number, this is just, I'm giving it to you as an example. 99.9% of people that are trying to time the market, you're going to outpace them. Simply by just throwing money into the market on a consistent basis. We are able to do this because of automation and the systems we place around our investing. So now that we understand my story, now that we understand how automation can supercharge your investing and your savings, how do you do it, right? So 401k is a great way. If you're not investing in a 401k, especially if there's a company match, take advantage of that. Absolutely take advantage of it. There are a few platforms that I use. I mentioned one of them, Acorns. If you want to set up recurring investments into pre-built portfolios that you can choose from conservative all the way to aggressive and a few points in between, you can kind of pick your portfolio. I think Acorns is a great way. I still use it to this day. I use it heavily to this day. If you do, and you are interested in that, there's a link in the description below that if you use that link, you get $5 added to your Acorns account when you sign up, absolutely free, and I get a little kickback as well. I'd appreciate it if you supported the channel that way. Also, for a high yield savings account, and most high yield savings accounts have this functionality, but I use Yada in particular, which kind of gamifies the savings. I've talked about it many times, but basically you have a chance to win based off of how much money you have inside of your Yada account. You can win money every week, right? So it has a baseline interest rate, and then if you get certain matches on the tickets, the drawings that happen every week, you can win anywhere from, I don't know, a couple dollars depending on depending on how much you have saved there. And I think the grand prize is, I think it's $10 million that you could win, right? It's kind of cool. It's kind of like the lottery. Are your chances of winning that $10 million low? Absolutely it is, but it's still a chance. And so I use Yada for my high yield savings account, and they have the ability to throw money in there on a consistent basis to set up that automation. If you want to use Yada as well, there is a link in the description below. If you click it and use promo code Millennial, promo code Millennial when signing up, you get 100 free tickets for the first week's drawing that you have money in there. and that could turn into cash. And just so y'all know, I think last week I won. It was one of my larger ones. I think it was like $30 in that week's drawing. So it was pretty cool. It's the biggest amount of money that I've won so far. So just your challenge now to take away is think about the things you could automate. Think about how you're investing and how you're saving and how you can set up automation around that. And if it kind of freaks you out to have lack of control over what you're investing, start small. Start with an amount that you're not even going to notice is gone, and start to see the benefit. And when you start seeing the benefit of that automation, it will spur you and encourage you to do it at a higher degree. So hopefully this was helpful today, and hopefully y'all are having a good day. I'm going to head back in and hope to talk to you soon.